Today's edition of Tours 2015 will explore the new horizon of business perspectives in a certain unique regional market concerning of over 600 million consumers, which is the ASEAN market. But sometimes the market stays put. However, the city expands. And Kun Pasarang, there's a saying that Asia's booming cities must go green or risk disaster.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. According to the new released Asian Development Bank report, Asia now must act to pave the way for green, resource-friendly cities or face a bleak of environmentally degraded future of the city. And the challenge is now to put in place the policies in which will reverse the trend and facilitate the development of green technology and green urbanization.
And the Asia Development Bank has contributed to the developing countries for the past decade, expecting only a social and economic well-being of the Asian people in return. And in contributing to the ASEAN region as a whole, the latest report of regional booming cities and the key indicators such as cities going green has attracted significant attentions. Green urbanization goes along with what we know as green development.
With an exclusive interview with the ADB's chief economist, the assistant chief economist, who was actually the main author of the report, it makes today's edition even more fruitful. Kunatagon. Mr. Douglas H. Brooks, assistant chief economist of Asian Development Bank, tells us a more comprehensive story of the green urbanization.
Mr. Douglas, we've heard so much about green development, particularly in the Southeast Asian region. So in your interpretation, are green development and green urbanization similar? Is it a concept?
I would consider green urbanization as part of green development, just as urban areas are part of the country, and a very important part. But the green development should be something at a national level, even at a global level, as well as at a very local and even household level. Green urbanization may not include as much emphasis on the national or global level, although it does have implications for that.
So basically green urbanization, be applied by city.
It would be applied city by city, but there could be coordinated efforts made at a national or even a higher level. One example is cities, because they're where most industry locates, where most production takes place, are big emitters of carbon dioxide, CO2.
Right.
And much of what the problems created by carbon dioxide emissions, their contribution to global warming, is a global problem. So for an individual city may not feel strong enough incentives to tackle their carbon dioxide emissions, but in coordination with other cities and with other countries, it can help to fight this global problem.
A recent seminar held by ADB revealed that for over a decade already, Asia has been urbanizing at a faster rate than anywhere else, causing a concentrated city dwellers. And this breakneck expansion has been accompanied by a sharp rise in pollution and population, slums and widening economic inequalities and social activities, causing rapid environmental degradation. And the point is whether rising inequality and income disparities are really problematic. And if green urbanization is the solution, is it environmentally profitable at all?
Phenomenon is going to create some sort of what I heard is rising inequalities and income disparities. That's the biggest problem, isn't it?
It would be a problem if it works out that way. Things don't have to be that way. There are forces that make that likely to happen. There's also a lot of policies that can counteract those forces and promote a more inclusive form of growth. And that depends on if the poor are given adequate consideration in the planning process and in the policy-making process.
Right. The green urbanization, can it justify an economic return in a long-term period?
I believe so, yes. And we already see some examples of a lot of green technologies that are becoming profitable, that the costs of developing and producing goods through the green technologies has been coming down. The prices for a lot of the, I don't want to call them bad technologies, but things that rely on fuels and commodities that contribute towards pollution and global warming and those things. If the commodity prices are rising, people have more incentive to shift to the greener technologies.
Right.
They become profitable at a lower, or they become profitable sooner and can contribute to a better process going forward. So there is a lot of potential.
In our next break, we'll be catching up with virtual key indicators for the Asia-Pacific cities to go green and a showcase of ASEAN cities which are also craving for green urbanization.